Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Gursimrat, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Gursimrat?
Yes, sir, I'm doing good, sir. What about you?
I'm doing absolutely fine, dear. Gursimrat,
Thank you.
how would you like to introduce yourself? What kind of a person are you?
Yes, sir. Sir, as you mentioned, I am Gursimrat Singh. I belong to the city of Patiala from Punjab state, and I have done my primary and secondary education in Patiala, whereby I did my graduation in MBBS from Government Medical College and Rajendra Hospital, Patiala. My hobbies are performing bhangra, playing basketball, and participating in declamations. And my friends and people around me find me a person of jovial mood and a person with positive outlook.
Gursimrat, can you recall an incident from your lifetime where you have radiated positivity to people
Yes, sir.
who were around?
Yes, sir. Sir, during my internship in my tertiary hospital, there was an incident in labor room, gynec duty. There was a lady who was pregnant, and she had immediate labor pains, but the doctor on duty wasn't available. But the PG resident was available, but she was occupied. So I immediately helped the compounder there and took her to the PG resident, and we collectively, as she assisted the resident in the operation and procedure, sir. So afterwards, I was blessed by the relatives and the patient itself. So I found it a very positive incident for me.
Good. Gursimrat, have you ever visited a primary healthcare center?
Yes, sir. I have visited a sub center and a primary healthcare center, as it is part of our internship duty. We visit these centers.
Okay. So during your visit, what did you discover? What are the major problems that the primary healthcare centers face in India today?
Yes, sir. PHC, sir, it helps covers a population of 5,000 to 10,000, and mostly they are in the villages and tehsils. So the problems there is with the technology or the infrastructure, the health infrastructure. It needs to be updated, and even the supply of medicines. Sometimes they are available, sometimes there is shortage. So a regular updation of the supply chain should be there. Otherwise, they are working well.
Gursimrat, how can we improve the supply chain of medical services?
Yes, sir. So the indigenous production of the medicines and medical devices, sir, it needs to be boosted and with a national program. And also, sir, the supply chain needs to be monitored on a regular basis, so that the essential medicines, at least, are the essential and emergency medicines. The stock is available at all the primary, secondary, and tertiary hospitals.
Gursimrat, there is a school of thought which says that Gursimrat,
yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm saying, Gursimrat, there is a school of thought which believes that most of our economic gains are consumed by our huge population. Hence, we must control our population. What kind of measures do you suggest as a doctor and as a citizen to control the bulging population of this country?
Yes, sir. Sir, as of now, the national population has achieved the total replacement fertility level, which is of 2.1. So I believe India has the largest youngest population, and it would be one of the largest in coming years. So I think the population policy should not be enforced as per in policy in some states. It should be a national voluntarily policy where the people are made aware that requisite number of members in the family, and if they are harnessed properly into the productivity, it leads to an ideal citizen life. So I think a voluntary awareness needs to be spread so that people adopt practices which are conducive to their family.
Any specific medical measure that you
So
recommend?
the contraceptive measures so that they can have a proper planned family. So the contraceptive services, as provided by the ASHA workers, they provide the door-to-door services of the contraceptive. So that needs to be spread in every village. So,
what are the problems that private healthcare centers face in India?
so the private healthcare centers, sir, they are regulated by the government. But sir, the problems with the as a public, sir, they are the out of pocket expenditure is much, sir. So they need to be regulated and need to be have a cap on the prices of medicines and the services they provide. It should be lifted properly, and they can be regularly monitored so that there is no out of pocket healthcare expenditure. Also, sir, the private sector should hold hands with the government so that they collectively provide the services to the society, sir.
Okay, Gursimrat, try to imagine that I have started a business, and suppose it's a startup, and I have ventured into the healthcare sector. Now I have made something innovative, and now I want to file a patent for it. What is the procedure in India?
So the patents in India are governed by the Indian Patents Act of 1970. So firstly, the invention is it is sent for uh, the authorization by the Drugs Controller General of India. So after that, the if the approval is given, so then the patent is the license is given, voluntary license is given, and the government incentivizes, and it can be manufactured and sold in the market after the trials and approval of the drug or invention.
Simran, we are witnessing that for the past few years, popular politics has garnered for itself a great landscape. What I mean is that several political parties are doing politics around freebies. What is your take on freebies offered by different political parties or the promises that they make?
So I think the population of the election issues, the local issues should be redressed, and rather than free services, I think they can be provided at a substantial or a normal adequate rate. And I think the avenues for employment, they should be, and the local issues should be redressed more rather than the free subsidies. So I think the people should be aware that the local issues or the problems, they are addressed in a proper way and not just a freebie to a particular section of the society. So I think the people should exercise the vote accordingly.
Gursimrat, have you heard about AUKUS? AUKUS.
Yes.
Have you heard about it?
Yes, sir. So AUKUS is a multilateral organization, stands for Australia, UK, and the US. So it was seen as an alternative during the Australia-French deal when the French was subsided and bypassed, and Australia took the deal with the UK and US for the submarines. So it is a new multilateral organization, which is also seen as a anti-China organization as well.
Gursimrat, what role art plays in society?
So the art and culture is the mirror of a society, and I think art needs to be expressed in its freedom, and it shows how the enriching the culture and heritage of a society is. So I think every village, every society or an area, its different and diverse culture should be expressed, and the avenues should be provided by the support, and avenues should be provided by the government so that it can be expressed to the public at a large, and people learn about the diverse culture of India, sir, and that is our strength, unity in diversity. Sir.
Politics is an art or a craft?
So politics is both an art and a craft, in my opinion. It is an art of expression of the grievances of the people and the local issues, and it is the craft how to be the local issues are addressed in a creative and significant way, sir.
Gursimrat, just a few moments back, you talked about your internship program.
Yes, sir.
When you recall that program, can you highlight that what was the best moment in that program and what was the worst moment?
Sir, the best moment was when I was posted in the ACLS and BCLS, that is the basic life support. So we were we were made to practice the techniques, how to save the life of a patient or a person who is in an emergency. So we were taught about the CPR and other techniques, sir. And so I won't say any worst moment, but there were ups and downs during, sir. They were during the COVID pandemic. We had to work day and night, and there were extension of our shifts duties. So that was a bit difficult, but I think with the support of my co-interns and even the seniors, we were made comfortable, and we were made prepared to cope with such an situations in life, which I think at the end of the day now we feel satisfied that we worked and we were appreciated.
Gursimrat, have you ever experienced a situation in your life where your ethics were challenged or your morality was questioned?
So during my internship, sir, if I recall an incident, so I was posted in the COVID ward, and it was my night shift, and the senior resident had given me a duty to look after a patient, and but he had gone to his home, and he should have arrived. He arrived the next morning, and he said that I will come the next morning, and you have to send me the vitals of the patient. Sir, I could have gone home because there was nobody and the nurses were available. But sir, as it was my responsibility, and I knew that morning I could be questioned, so I took the recorded the vitals of the patient after interval of 2-3 hours. So when he came in the morning, sir, he questioned me, "Did you went home?" When I went home, so but sir, I answered him with the records that I monitored the vitals of the patient, and now I may take your leave, sir. So that was a ethical and contented event in my internship period.
Gursimrat, whatever little interaction that we have had so far, I don't know, I'm getting a feeling as if you are designed to be a doctor.
Yes, sir.
You would be an excellent asset for the nation if you go into the medical profession. Then why on earth you want to join the civil services?
Sir, my experience and the knowledge or skills acquired in my medical services would always remain with me. Sir, and I see civil services as the extension of the positive work which I have done in medical science. Sir, I see it would amplify in the civil services, and I can work even better and on a large scale by sir implementing the skills I have learned here by implementing in the administration and diverse fields. So I think it would be an extension to my service.
Are you aware about any particular civil servant who has a medical background and who has performed excellently well during the COVID pandemic?
Yes, sir. Sir, in Maharashtra, sir, there was a doctor named Mr. Bharud. He was posted in Nandalbar in Maharashtra. Sir, his work in the oxygen supply and was very well thought of, and he had monitored the situation and assessed the situation well. And sir, he provided the oxygen facilities and the adequate supply of oxygen during the second wave, which is also now a case study of how to monitor and the adequate levels of oxygen were provided. It was started from there, sir. So it was a laudable work.
Gursimrat, I was going through your extracurricular activities and interest section of the DAF, which also includes your hobbies. And I see that you maintain an array of hobbies and you have studied medicine. How do you manage time to manage all these hobbies?
Yes, sir. So since beginning, I was a sports person. So I played basketball, sir. So to remain fit, I take out 1 hour, half an hour to play basketball whenever possible, sir. And sir, even if I have a night shift, try to play it in the morning or whenever I can play in
Mm,
if not every day. Sir, Bhangra I used to do in the college fest as well as the many inter-college competitions our college
mm,
provided. Sir, I used to take part in them. So
mm,
and even when we go to some festivals and melas,
mm,
I perform Bhangra, sir. It provides me energy and positivity. Sir,
mm,
the other hobby of declamation, sir, that too I
mm,
performed since school days and
mm,
in the college as well, and various declamation and speeches on topics. Sir,
mm.
that is also my area of interest, sir. So I think I balance my duties, and whenever I get time, I also play on my interest as well, sir.
Good. Well, that's nice to hear. Gursimrat, one final question from my side.
Yes, sir.
You like listening to Punjabi songs.
Yes, sir.
Are you happy with the kind of Punjabi songs that are being created in today's day and age when we compare it to the olden Punjabi songs?
Yes, sir.
Uh, are you happy with the lyrics, with the content of the songs that are being made today when you compare it with the songs of yesteryears?
Sir, I won't blame all the singers, as there are also positive singers in today's era as well, like Satinder Sartaaj being one of my favorite. But yes, some
Mm,
singers they need to improve upon their content, like not
mm,
glorifying the bad elements of the society.
mm,
So they can be improved. And also, Punjab government has come with the cultural commission, which looks after this,
mm,
and the singers are motivated so that
mm,
they showcase the positive things about the Punjab culture and
mm,
the culture and its richness, so that
mm,
the people feel happy by relishing the strong culture of Punjab rather than
mm,
glorifying the bad elements. And I
mm.
think that would uh, be a better thing.
Thank you, Gursimrat.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Gursimrat, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, dear. Gursimrat, what is your height? Can I ask you?
Sir, it is 6 feet, sir.
Good. So no wonder you're keen in basketball.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Gursimrat, what is the meaning of the name Gursimrat?
Yes, sir. Sir, Gursimrat, it is divided into two parts, Guru and Simrat, which comes out to be the chanting the name of God, the Holy Guru.
Good. And your birthday, you are very fond of sports, as you have said,
Yes,
and you're from Patiala, which is actually a land of a lot of sports people. A lot of sports persons have come up from Patiala. Uh, can you name a few sportsmen or sports persons of repute who owe their origin to Patiala?
yes, sir. As at the institutional level, so we have the National Institute of Sports, NIS Patiala. It provides it and sends the contingent every 4 years to the Olympics and even the national and international games. So this time also we send 20 people were representing from Punjab in the Olympics, and we produce as of basketball, the game I play. Sir, many players were there as they've also represented in the NBA Game Association. Some being Principal Singh and
No,
Satanam Singh.
you haven't got my question. I asked people who have made India proud who belong to Patiala,
Yes,
not
sir. The
Punjab,
uh,
Patiala.
Principal Singh, it is from Patel and represents in NBA, the Basketball Association. Also, he plays for the Indian team in the FIBA Championship. Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Any cricketers or hockey players?
Sir, I may not recall, but I think there are some in other games as well.
I'm reminded of Mankaur.
Yes, sir. She's an athlete, now a veteran athlete from Patiala, sir. Yes.
Yeah, what are her credentials?
Sir, she has now been the an oldest lady to youngest and oldest lady. Recently, she got a medal in. I think she's 100 plus now, and she still walked at the athletic round, sir.
Yeah, she's got
Still
the
made
world
to it.
record for the fastest sprint, 100
Yes,
plus
sir.
years.
Yes, sir.
Unluckily, she passed away a few days back, a few weeks back rather.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do not recollect Mohinder Ramanath or Deepak Thakur or Abhinav Bindra?
Yes, sir. Abhinav Bindra in shooting, sir.
Yes, they're all from
Won a gold
Patiala.
medal. Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you share your birthday with anybody of repute? You remember?
Sir, the birth date I am not aware of, but 1997 year I share with the cricketer Rishabh Pant and also Miss World, Miss India, Manushi Chillar.
Uh, see, you are a doctor, and you said just now you answered the question on what and why you should be in the IAS. But I see your first choice was IPS,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So tell me, how can you put your qualification? Maybe as a doctor, as an IAS officer, yes, but as a IPS officer, how can you put your qualification as a doctor to better use?
Yes, sir. I have been and sir, I'm passionate about the police uniform services, and I believe my knowledge of gained in the medical science, such as the forensic science, and it would be useful in the crime and prevention. Also, the skills I have acquired, sort of empathy and compassion, they would be helpful in the public dealing in the local police. And also, sir, the issues I have learnt about the physical and mental health that I think I would also contribute towards in police personnel as well as in public at large.
From your talk and from your DAF, what I can make out is that you are very interested in the uniform. The uniform interests you a lot.
Yes, sir.
You have also appeared for the Combined Defense Services, for which the results you are awaiting still.
Yes, sir.
So, why in that case was a choice of career as a doctor in the defense services not a choice that you thought of?
Yes, sir. Sir, I was in since my ninth, 10th school days. Sir, because my parents are doctors and also had an keen interest in science as a subject. So I opted as my interest in biology. So I opted for medical science as my career in plus one and plus two. Later, when I explored more about civil services and the various services it provides and the opportunities it provides, sir, I worked towards my dream as an IPS officer.
No, but I'm asking, why are you not interested in applying for service as a doctor in the defense services?
Sir, as I have, so my maternal uncle is also serving in IPS, and also, sir, I idolize our national security advisor, Mr. G. Doval. Sir, I think is a source of inspiration for me to serve in the police services. So I relate with that job better.
So, defense services is a second option.
So it is a backup option, but I believe I'm will be content with police services.
Okay, good. Tell me, you are very fond of basketball, and I'm glad to know that you have represented, you played
Under
in the under
19.
19 national basketball.
Yes, sir.
So, tell me, why is basketball not so popular in India, both in terms of popularity as well as uh, the, uh, the participation of public in this?
Sir, I believe the cricket as a game has overshadowed the basketball a bit, but I think, sir, the recent in the last 2 years, it has been given a push, and players such as Satnam Singh and Principal Singh, they have represented in the NBA. Also, 2 3 years back, a league in basketball, UBL Pro League, has been started. So I think it would provide the exposure to this game as a sport, and I think in the coming times, if the proper exposure and infrastructure is given, I think basketball is also a good potential future as a sport for India, sir.
You've taken the name of Satnam Singh and Principal Singh.
Yes, sir.
Any other person who has been drafted into the NBA that you can recall?
Amijot Singh, Amijot Singh,
Okay, good.
Principal Singh, Satnam Singh.
Yeah. And who was the first to play in the NBA?
Sir, Sim Pullar, he was from Indian. He has Indian origin, and after that, Satnam Singh from Punjab. He was the first one to be drafted in team of Dallas Mavericks.
Good. Tell me one thing. Uh, has India ever participated in the basketball in Olympics?
So India has not been able to qualify yet to the.
Are you sure?
Sir, sir, I believe India has not been able to qualify to the final stage.
Please check on that. India has participated in the 1980 Olympics for the first and the only time.
Okay.
It was in Moscow.
Okay.
What is your highest score that you have scored in basketball?
Sir, as a team player, I play in the position of shooting guard, and sir, I cover the area of 3 pointers. So I think I have made 21 is the score in the nationals. I remember in the semi-finals team for Punjab, I scored 21 points
Very nice.
for the
Do you
team.
remember any player in the world who has ever scored more than 100 or more in a game of basketball?
Uh, Sir, I'm not aware of the name, but I think it should be Kobe Bryant. So
I think you need to check on that because it is not Kobe Bryant. The one and the only player who has done so is Wilt Chamberlain, who scored 100 points, exactly 100 points.
okay.
Anyway, you are a doctor, and one question which I would want to know from you, a new problem which is hitting worldwide, the people worldwide, is the problem of mental fatigue, and sports people are actually being affected in a big way. You've heard of so many people in the recent past, from cricket, in the field of cricket, in the field of hockey. The latest was Ashley Barty, who has retired from the game of 25. What is the problem? Why is it becoming such a big issue? The mental fatigue.
So the mental health is a upcoming concern, also been exacerbated by the COVID and such pandemics. Sir, I think the inability to balance the ups and downs in life and the profession and personal life, sir, it may lead to a mental fatigue or mental problem for any normal human being. But I think the counseling facilities should be promoted and more counselors should be created so that it should be normal to have a talk with even a friend's peers or a mental health expert so that these challenges in life which everyone faces can be overcome. So,
Supposing if you are posted as an supposing, right, not in the IPS, maybe as an IS officer, you're posted as a district collector, and in the area that is under your command, you see that there is a problem. You see the people having mental issues. Uh, what sort of actions will you suggest, or what actions will you take to ensure that the children as well as the adults, the grown-ups, do not suffer from this problem of mental fatigue?
yes, sir. So at the level of children, we should, the counselors or the health psychiatrists and experts, they can form a team and have a visit to the various schools one by one, and the awareness can be spread with the challenges of the school children and the competition, so that they should overcome this and should not be feel stressed about it. And they have their parents, they have their teachers, and they can also be given helpline numbers of the counselors, so they can have a free talk with them how to uh, act in these situations and they can overcome these situations. At the society level, sir, I believe can be the counselors should be again be the exposure should be made to the public, and there should be awareness that talking about mental health is normal and there should not be any stigma associated with it. So I think the mental psychiatrists and the counselors should be promoted in every block of the society. Sir, and more constructible events should be promoted at the societal level so that people don't indulge in other activities and they can promote their hobbies and their interests and they feel contented in life, sir.
These days, Punjab is earning a bad name because of the drug menace. So if you join the Indian Police Services and if you are posted somewhere in Punjab, what actions would you take to uh, ensure that you reduce this menace?
Yes, sir. As an IPS officer, I will not consider it as a law and order problem, but it needs to be tackled holistically. Both the supply and demand has to be reduced. As per the Punjab being a border state, there should be enhanced border surveillance at the borders so that there is no smuggling from the drugs being geographically from the Golden Crescent area. Sir, moreover, the youth, there should be ample employable opportunities to be provided to the youth so that they can be used productively in the various avenues of employability, so that they don't indulge in these activities. And also the supply in various fields, the supply of drugs should be surveilled upon, and also the drug rehabilitation centers and the drug de-addiction centers, they should be more like, as they are as of now, there are only 54 centers in Punjab. I think more can be given licensed and they can be monitored, so that the proper rehabilitation is done of the patients, and they can lead a normal life and they can join the mainstream again.
One last question, Gursimrat. If we talk in terms of Punjab, three words which define Punjab, and one of them you have been repeatedly saying Bhangra, Bhangra, Bhangra. Now, Bhangra and Gidda probably are not something which is associated with Punjab. Punjab is associated with the Bhangra and Gidda, right? So, if I say three things, Bhangra, Gidda, food, and lassi, these three things epitomize Punjab. Any three more things that you would like to state which epitomize Punjab?
Yes, sir. Sir, one could be the Punjab has been the land of freedom fighters, and Punjab is the backbone of agriculture economy, sir. And Punjab is a state of rich culture, and all the religions live very peacefully here, sir. It is the land of rich culture and heritage. Also, it provides a huge members to the army and various forces to the country. Punjab has been a top runner in that.
Good.
These
Thank
are
you
the
very
things.
much. Thank you very much, Gursimrat.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Gursimrat.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Gursimrat, your place of birth is Taran Taran,
Yes, sir.
right? So how it derives its name?
Sir, the city of Taran Taran has been founded by the fifth Guru, Shri Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and it was the 18th city of district of Punjab. So it is peculiar for having the largest holy tank and sarovar in the world, sir.
How it derived its name? That is what my question was.
Sir, I'm not aware of the etymology of the particular.
Okay. What is your take on government's handling of COVID crisis in first wave as well as second wave?
Sir, as of the first wave, sir, it was a surprise and obviously a pandemic of a huge stature for whole of the world, and it was challenging for India as well, being having a huge population. And I think India imposed the lockdown, a huge lockdown in the first wave, and we were successful in controlling the cases subsequently. In the second wave, sir, I think there were challenges on the oxygen shortage and other supply chain shocks. I think it could have been monitored well. But as of now, sir, there is a ray of positivity as India has launched the largest immunization vaccination program. And I think 60 and 70% of the population is already vaccinated. And we are also being now trying to vaccinate other age groups and 12 to 14 age group with the recent vaccines of Corbevax, etc. So I think India as of now has learned its lessons in the previous waves, and I think we are now positive and ready. If further any challenge comes again, I think the administration is ready to tackle it, sir.
Okay. Can you elaborate upon the recent oral vaccine being proposed for COVID? What is it and how it will work?
Sir, the oral vaccine, I think it's a Zycov-D. Sir, it would work in a way that so orally it has the antigen, which would be in the medicine, and it would instigate a response against the viral sequence, and it would our body would form the proteins regarding it, and it would provide the immunity by forming the antibodies. So.
Okay. What is the difference between DNA-based virus and RNA-based virus?
Yes, sir. DNA and RNA both are the genetic material of the body, and DNA viruses are double-stranded, and RNA viruses are mostly single-stranded. Corona being an RNA virus is one of an RNA viruses.
Okay. Gursimrat, what do you think? A doctor is more suited in hospital or in revenue services?
Sir, I think doctor can serve in both, provided his keen interest and passion. He can work as a doctor and saves the life of the patient. And in IRS also, he can learning from the his skills, and he can learn about the financial revenue as other aspects as well. As his public dealing skill, he has already been imbibed. So I think he can work in that field as well, provided he has an interest in it.
So you have interest in revenue fields?
Sir, I have more interest in police services, but I'm open to revenue, working in revenue field as well.
Okay. Recently, sacrilege issue came to limelight in Punjab. Why sacrilege issues are more prominent in Punjab than any other places in India?
So recently there was sacrilege issues of in the Gurudwara, and in Kapurthala also there was Bagardari incident. So I think it is a problem of law and order, and I think the communal harmony should be maintained. But I don't think it is not just common to Punjab. I think other places as well there has been riots, and but I think the police with the proper police enforcement and awareness campaigns of communal harmony and unity, this sacrilege issues can be handled well, and also promoting the tolerance of other religions and towards other practices of other religions. I think that should be promoted at societal level.
Okay. What measures should be taken to avoid any future COVID-like crisis?
So I think the zoonotic cases or the recent outbreaks of such diseases like Ebola, Nipah, the COVID crisis, these zoonotic diseases are the emergent outbreaks which the world is facing. I think they are predicted in future as well. But I think the preparation and the tracing, the lessons we have learned from these waves, like the contact tracing, the proper hand hygiene, the social distancing norms, and now we have prepared the COVID manuals as well. So I think these manuals and strict learned guidelines which we have made, they would be very useful if any such outbreak or any other zoonotic disease comes
My
up again.
question is that how can we prevent any such outbreaks from happening ever again?
Sir, by strictly maintaining the laboratory surveillance, so that there is no and also monitoring of the zoonosis, the animal markets, and so the disease is not spread, and it should be contained there itself, even if it is there is a disease case. I think the COVID screening or the any disease screening, be it in the laboratory, can be done, and it should be contained there itself. And as WHO was a bit delayed in the declaring it as an emergency, so the country should be having a body so that the disease, if it happens, an outbreak happens in a local area, it is contained there itself. So,
mostly live animal markets are being held responsible for such outbreaks. Do you think that they should be banned altogether?
sir, I won't think the banning of them would be a good step, but I think proper hygiene practice and proper equipments for hygiene, they can be provided so that there is no such the disease or virus infection in the animals per se. So I think proper hygiene practices should be monitored, and the food inspectors or the food monitoring persons, they can monitor it regularly, the market, so that there is no hygiene, the hygiene protocols are not misused.
What is an income of average, or what is an average income of farmer in India?
Sir, I'm not aware of the particular.
Make a logical guess.
Sir, I think it would be. It depends on seasonal, sir. It is a seasonal.
Per annum, average income.
Per annum, it may be, sir, 3 to 4 lakhs or 1 or 2 lakhs.
1, 2, 3, 4. Choose a number.
1 or 2 lakhs, sir, per annum.
Okay. Government is taking steps to double the farmers' income. Even in fact, the 2022 was the year when which government wanted to achieve that feat of doubling of farmers' income, but it has not been that much successful. What steps would you suggest to the government of India, which has not already been taken yet, for doubling of farmers' income?
Sir, the green revolution has its flaws, had its flaws, and now there is a monoculture of the crops of rice and wheat, as in some areas of Punjab and Haryana, and even in India. So I think crop diversification should be the first thing, so that more agricultural crops can be grown. And I think other the policies would be to double the farmers' income. So agriculture should be made a remunerative job. So the backward and forward linkages needs to be strengthened. And also the food processing industry, so it should be promoted, and the food processing centers, like the schemes like one district, one product, they can be promoted so that the farmers can earn more with the specialized crops.
Okay. As your first choice is IPS,
Yes.
tell me what are the internal security challenges of India and divide them into two categories: before 1991 and after 1991.
Yes, sir. So before 1991, the internal security challenges were the left-wing extremism in the Red Corridor area, which has been tackled, and it has shrunk to 37% by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Also, the Jammu and Kashmir being it had was a special status, so the insurgents in Jammu and Kashmir. Also, before 1991, the Punjab has been hotbed of insurgency and secessionist era in 1984. As of now, sir, the challenges are in the northeast as well. It was before 1991 as well, and now also the integration of northeast and the border clashes in the northeast area is a concern. Sir, even the integration of J&K is has to be maintained, and the north left-wing extremism we have largely been successful, and I think it would be eliminated in coming years. So.
Okay. One last
Yeah.
question from my side. Gursimrat. What was the birth name of Guru Ramdas?
Sir, I'm not aware of it.
Thank you.
Gursimrat, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
One last question before we close this interaction.
Yes, sir.
Gursimrat, you have opted for Punjabi language or Punjabi literature as your optional subject.
Yes, sir.
So highlight one quote in Punjabi that sums up your personality. If there exists none, you can frame one.
Yes, sir. Sir, that would be a quote by Baba Farid ji, and it says, with your permission, I can recite it.
Yes, and also translate it for the benefit of all.
Yes, sir. So it translates to Farida je tu akal latif काले लिखना लेख आप नड़ा गिरीवान में सिर नीवा कर देख. Translating it to English, sir, it means that if you consider yourself to be a learned or wise human, before criticizing others, try to look inside yourself. What are the problems you have? And first amend yourself and improve yourself as a human being. And then you can be directly, you will be a source of inspiration to others to follow it.
Nice quote, Gursimrat. Your interview is over, dear.
Thank you.
It was nice interacting with you. Stay connected. We will reconnect with you in some time for your feedback.
Yes, sir.
Gursimrat, am I audible to you? Mic muted. Gursimrat. Gursimrat, I think you are on mute.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Gursimrat, it was a lovely interview. And let me highlight the good things first.
Yes, sir.
You appear very polite and decent.
Yes.
You articulate your thoughts very well. You organize your content very well. You present your arguments in a well-balanced manner. You did not breach any moral corridor. And all your answers were in tune with the parameters of Indian Constitution.
Yes.
Well, that is what we advise to most of the candidates. And you were already covering all the bases there.
Yes,
but this is a critical analysis.
Yes,
so let me highlight the areas where there is some room for improvement.
Yes.
First, Gursimrat, well, it's a long name. Can I call you Gur or Simrat?
Yes, Yes.
Okay, Simran. So I want to know from you, dear, that do you shave otherwise, or due to some religious reasons you do not?
I have not shaved in my life, but I am open to shave. I can shave my beard.
Okay. So if you are comfortable, I would advise you can, because that will make you look more sharp. If you are not comfortable and your sentiments do not permit it, don't do it.
Sir, I can shave it, but in the picture I have provided in the DAF, sir, I have a beard in that. So a change in that, is that okay for the board?
It would not cause anything. It means it will not go against you. It will create no difference, right? What happens, Simrat, is you would appear more younger.
Yes, sir.
Right? It is your first attempt. You are very young. You have a medical background. You have studied literature,
Yes.
and you are placing police services as your first preference. So it's a strong DAF. Your hobby section, extracurricular section, your NCC sports. You have good knowledge of your hobbies. You answered most of the questions very well. But one question where I feel that you needed some improvement was that internal security question. After 1991, one major internal security challenge is cybersecurity.
Yeah.
You did not mention that. So try to think before you speak, especially in these kind of questions, right? It is not a test of your knowledge in any case. It's a test of your personality. And since we are interacting online, so we cannot judge your how you are sitting or how you have kept your hands. So I am assuming that you have done everything appropriately. Something regarding eye contact, I would like to say that when somebody asks you a question, you look into that person's eyes and wait till the question gets over. Once the question is finished, wait for a few seconds. There could be a supplementary question. Once there are no further questions, then slightly lower your gaze. Do not put your head down because that shows lack of confidence. Slightly lower your gaze. Then start answering by looking at the person again who has asked you the question. Primarily, you should look at that person, but in between, you should steal some soft glances towards the other members of the board so that they do not feel left out. That is the right way to have a good eye contact. So I think that there are bright chances this year for you, Simrat, and we have a hunch that you're making it, and you're making it with glory. So before I disclose your scores, if there is anything specific you would like to ask.
Yes, sir. So I wanted to ask the answer about why IPS. The real answer for me is that I have a passion for police uniform services, and also I idolize my maternal uncle and the NSA of India. So is that enough for it?
Do not bluff in any case.
Yes, sir.
What is reality? Speak the truth, right? Say this, but juxtapose it with an additional sentence. You say that although I'm open to serve in any of the services. The same answer should be provided when there is a question around cadre preferences in different zones, right? Anything else, Simrat?
So, no, that's it, sir. And if they ask why Punjabi literature and not medical science are optional, I have keen interest in Punjabi literature.
Yes.
It also being my mother tongue. That is fine, sir.
Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely fine.
Yes,
your answer should look real. It should not be a fake answer. Aisa nahi lagna chahiye you have manufactured that answer and it is not directly emanating from you. Okay, Gursimrat, when is your interview scheduled here?
So 2nd of May. I have a month with me.
Okay, so you have good time in your hands. But anyhow, you are well prepared.
Yes,
and only thing what we feel is do not allow complacency to creep in. Your biggest, you can say, enemy at this point in time is complacency. Do not allow that and take care of your health. Well, being a doctor, you understand the value of health.
Yes,
so please take care of your health. And
yes,
when I asked you, Gursimrat, how are you doing?
Yes, sir.
So you answered it that, sir, I am very well. How are you?
Yes, sir.
Please avoid that question.
Okay, so I can say I'm doing well. Thank you.
I am doing absolutely fine.
Thank you.
Okay. So, well, Gursimrat, as far as this interview was concerned, the board has awarded you 185. 185. which are excellent marks. And if you work on these small areas which we have identified, then you can add 10, 15 more to that score. And we will not be surprised if your score is one among the highest scores this year. How did you write your essay paper?
Sir, my essay paper was excellent, and even the optional papers were good. Only GS3 was somewhat okay. All of the papers were to my best.
Are you satisfied with your case study answers?
Yes, sir. Ethics was very good.
Then just take care of your health and do what you are doing. It means keep yourself grounded, be humble.
Yes,
One thing where you can improve a bit, Gursimrat, is that sometimes we got a feeling that you are too submissive. Try to be a little bit assertive because you're looking for the IPS.
Yes, sir.
Assertiveness doesn't mean aggressive. It means
sir.
that you are putting your points with conviction. There was no voice modulation also.
Yes, sir.
More often than not, it felt as if you are speaking in a monotonous way.
Okay. I can change the pitch
what,
in between.
Yes. Yes. Change the pitch, have some sort of voice modulation. And do you intend to wear a tie on the day of interview?
Yes, sir. Tie, gray coat and charcoal gray coat pant, white shirt and black shoes and a tie.
And that would be a great combination. And if possible, I would advise you to shave. That will make you look more sharp.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Gursimrat.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All the very best, Gursimrat.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All the best.